It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer. Last year I reviewed the Aldi Grande and San Marco's beer, which are kind of rip-offs of some fairly popular British brewed Spanish lagers, but actually it's brewed in Spain, these beers, and the British brewed ones are not brewed in Spain. We're talking about San Miguel, brewed in the UK, and of course we're talking about more or less the British invented but very popular Madri. So these two were reviewed last year. That looks like a Madri clone to me, 4.6% ABV. This is the Grande from Aldi. It cost £1.75 a bottle, and I thoroughly enjoyed this last year. Again, San Marco's, San Miguel rip-off, 5% ABV, 660 milliliter bottles, gold bottle caps on those. But the reason I'm doing this video today is because Lidl took a long time to respond. Aldi are very fast out the gate. They realised San Miguel was a big seller in the UK. They brought out a clone. Madri came out within a year or two. Aldi were out with their Grande, challenging. Lidl took a little bit longer, but they're here. They're here, and I'm putting these two beers, or these two supermarkets with their Spanish beers, up against one another. So this is Lidl's version of a fake San Miguel. This is Martinez, 5% ABV. Lidl have decided to put it in a 440 milliliter can. I actually think the bottle, for a Spanish beer, I think Aldi have really thought about it. I think the bottle is better already. If you go to Spain, you see these big 660 milliliter bottles everywhere for about €1 a bottle. So the San Martinez is £1.19. The San Marcos is £1.19. The Martinez is about 80 pence a can. You can only buy it in a 4-pack. Then you have the Madri rip-off, Sabre, man in a flat cap, 4.6% ABV, same ABV. So let's start. Let's roll our sleeves up and let's start pouring some beer. So I'm going to start off with Lidl. Let's go with the Lidl beers. Do you get those where you live? The scrap men going around? They play tunes around here. It's like 9:05 in the morning. It's not early, but it's relatively early. Why am I cracking beers open at 9 o'clock in the morning? Well, so I can process them during the day and get them up on YouTube and get them released. Lidl's Sabre. This is their Madri clone. Let's get the two beers up then. So this is the Martinez, 2-finger white head. Better head on the Martinez. Slightly lighter. Golden amber in colour. 1-finger white head on the Sabre. So let's pour out Aldi's version. Now I do like Aldi's versions, I really do. Gold bottle cap on this one. Also, your palate works better in the morning. If brewers are tasting their beers before they go out on sale, they're generally tasting those beers in the morning. That's a little snippet for you if you didn't know that. One finger whitehead on this one. Quite large carbonation on the San Marcos. Let's get open the Grande. I really liked this last year. I thoroughly enjoyed this. Spanish brewed. All of these beers are... Actually, they're not. Actually, they're not. Just remembered. Anyway, the Grande from Aldi is Spanish brewed, and this is a beautiful beer. Really is, for £1.75, 660 milliliter bottle. One finger whitehead, good carbonation. They're all kind of light amber in colour. They're all pretty clear to look at. But I've just remembered something. The Martinez from Lidl. This has been, I'm pretty sure this is UK brewed beer. They call it Premium Cerveza World Beer, but I'm pretty sure that's UK brewed, because they would say, if Lidl are going to say Sabre, which is their Madri clone, is brewed in Spain, proudly on the can, then why aren't they doing it on their San Miguel clone? There's nothing on the can to suggest it's UK brewed. Spanish brewed. It is UK brewed. Right, let's get into these beers, shall we? Let's pit San Miguel. Let's pit the two Sabre beers together. The two Madri clones. Lidl's Sabre. Aldi's Grande. They look very similar, don't they? Aroma, Sabre. Quite nice. Quite nice. A lot of malt, a lot of that kind of... What you get from Spanish beer is generally, they're all malt lagers. That's the difference from UK brewed beer. That's the reason why Spanish beer is so popular, is that most of it, not all of it, but most of it is all malt lager. And you can smell that there. I'm going to actually say that the Sabre from Lidl has a better aroma than the Grande from Aldi. It's just a touch more sweeter and a little bit more of a hop aroma coming through. It's jumping out the glass at me a little bit, whereas the Grande, a little less pronounced. Let's dive in. Cheers, everybody. I like that from Lidl. Sweet, malty, biscuity, a nice hot bitterness coming through. Clean, drinkable. Aldi's Grande. Oh, but that's biting. That's much more of a biting bitterness coming through. Oh, I think. Oh, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. They're both incredibly refreshing. They're both incredibly drinkable. Both have lovely levels of carbonation. The Sabre is definitely sweeter. The Sabre is definitely a sweeter beer. Less of a biting bitterness on the back end, whereas the Grande is drier, more of a dry taste going on, but with much more of a punchy, biting bitterness. More like a Pilsner. More like a Pilsner, the Grande. So if you love a good Pilsner, then maybe the Grande's for you. Ooh. I loved the aroma of the Sabre, I really did. The taste is pretty good too, I like the taste. But after tasting the Grande, it's just nowhere near as bitter. It just doesn't have that hot bitterness about it, which personally I like. Ooh, Grande, very nice. Oh. Very nice, very, very nice. For me, on a personal level, the Grande beats Lidl's Sabre. But again, it's just my personal taste buds. If you like a sweeter lager, try the Sabre. Why don't you try buying the two beers from the two different supermarkets and doing your own little side by side? Because it's a big difference. A big difference. Now, let's put the fake San Miguels up against one another. This is Lidl's Martinez up against Aldi's San Marcos. Looking at the beers, the Martinez has better lacing on the glass. You can see that head retention sticking. It's sticking to the side of the glass, whereas the San Marcos from Aldi, it's not kind of clinging to the glass, it's not creating any kind of head. So the beer from Lidl, the Martinez beer, looks better, doesn't it? But if you think about British brewed lager, they always have that froth on the side of the glass, don't they? The British lager breweries have this in their locker, the ability to provide that lacing on the glass. So I'm a little bit suspect. Even though it looks nice, I'm a little bit suspect. Let's get into the Martinez first from Lidl. Oh, I didn't like it before. I don't like it now. Oh, it's like furry. It's like, oh, horrible, fatty, hard water. Just, it's not clean. The flavour of the beer is dominated by hard water. Sulphury, hard water that I find it revolting. If you're living in the Midlands, where all this hard water is, then I apologise to you guys sincerely. You're probably like, what's this guy on about? You were born drinking it. You're not going to be able to taste it, you know, compared to, especially if you've been drinking lots and lots of like your Carlins and your Fosters and your kind of British brewed lagers. You're not going to be able to taste it. You're going to be thinking, what is this guy on about? What is this guy banging on about? But the difference with the Sabre from Lidl and the Grande from Aldi is the fact that it's soft water. It's lovely soft water, not hard. It almost tastes like industry. The Martinez also almost tastes like the industry of a bygone era, like metallic flavours and fatty, sulphury water. Terrible. Undrinkable for me. Aldi's San Marcos, on the other hand, a little bit sweet, quite like the Grande, the Sabre actually from Lidl. Quite like the Sabre. biscuity, malty, sweet. Not much of a bitterness. It's good, but it's not brilliant. So that's loser beer. Unfortunately, the British brewed fake Spanish San Miguel lager from Lidl, Martinez. If you love Carling, if you love the real Madri, you might like this. San Martinez, actually, there's a San behind. You might like this. You might like it, but it's not for me. I'm going to chuck this over here. That is not for me. I'm going to rate that. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10. 4 out of 10 from Real Ale Craft Beer. Tastes like it's come out of a power station. A power station that's used this water for something that I don't really want to know about. We have a big chemical factory over here called Dow Corning. And it's almost as if Dow Corning have used all of its water to make the silicone products, and then they fired it out the back end and they just canned it into this San Martinez. It just tastes terrible. Terrible beer. I'm going to say 3 out of 10. I went 4 out of 10. I'm going to say 3 out of 10. It's just not for me. Hard water in lager for me is just criminal. So, let's put the two sweet beers together. Let's put Lidl's Sabre against Aldi's San Marcos. Let's try and recreate a head on the beer from the San Marcos. Can't do that with the Sabre because we've already poured it out. Let's go. Sweet. Sweet but slightly dry. Sabre. Malty and biscuity. Quite nice actually. Compared to that San Martinez from Lidl. A brilliant beer. San Marcos from Aldi. Ooh. A little bit tinny and strange, isn't it? Picking up a little tinniness in there now too. Wonder if my mind is playing tricks on me. I think the Sabre's winning this. I think the Sabre's winning this. Sabre. Quite clean, quite clean. San Marcos. Yeah, a little bit metallic. A little bit metallic. So, Sabre from Lidl wins that battle. San Marcos drops out. Again, my personal opinion here. San Marcos, £1.19 a bottle. Spanish brewed lager. It's not brewed in the UK, it's Spanish brewed. 7 out of 10. We might as well stick these two together, haven't we? Even though we've already done it. Let's do it again. Let's make sure. Ironically, it's the two red beers that win. Sabre from Lidl, Grande from Aldi. The two Madri clones are up against each other again. Sabre. It's just getting better. The Sabre's just getting better as I drink. The more I drink the Sabre, the more I'm enjoying it. that sweetness is kind of like leveled off on my palate a little bit here, and I'm getting a little bit more bitterness. Let's get into the Grande. Oh yeah. Oh, it's the Grande. That Grande, if you want to watch another video, I put the Grande up against Madri last year. Grande up against Madri, and the Grande smashed it apart. I'm not going to say that the Grande is smashing the Sabre apart, because they're both good beers. The Sabre's just slightly sweeter and less hoppy. The Grande is more of a bitter Pilsner. So for me, on a personal level, I'm going to give the Sabre an 8 and the Grande a 9. A 9 for the Grande. If you want to taste a really good Spanish brewed Pilsner style lager for £1.75 a bottle, then Grande is your beer. It really is. If you want to taste a slightly sweeter version of it, less hops, Sabre from Lidl is yours for 80p a can. It's something like, you buy 4 cans of it. Something like £3.20, something like that. So that's it. 9 for the Grande, 8 for the Sabre. I hope you liked the video. Please put your comments in the comments box. Subscribe to our daily beer and food reviews. Give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom. Cheers.